What's up, YouTube? This is going to be your guide on how to use Chimecho in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I'll be providing some competitive movesets and some fun meme movesets too. If there's a Pokemon you'd like to see me cover, put it below in the comment section. Enjoy these. If you like this, hit that like button. Let's get into it. So, Chimecho recently, spoiler alert, did just get its mega revealed. So I thought it'd be a cool idea to have a look at Chimecho, discuss some movesets for it. It's not very used a lot, and also discuss its mega, what its mega could possibly be in terms of stats and abilities. I'd love you to put your thoughts in the comment section below. Go for it. What do you think it's going to have? All right. So Chimecho's a Pokemon that's not really used at all. It does get some pretty cool quirks, but its stats are very, very bad. It doesn't even have a single stat that hits 100. So its best stat is its special attack, which is 95. And its only ability is Levitate. So that makes me think, I wonder what the Mega is going to get in terms of ability. Is it going to keep Levitate? Or is it going to get it should get you'd think it'd get a brand new ability, right? Based on its appearances. But we'll go into that as we get into this video. Now, the first set we sort of see here is going to be a Cosmic Power set. Now, this is probably Chimecho's best chance to try and get a sweep, whether it be singles or doubles, right? Doubles is going to need a little bit of support, right? So we might have a look at that in a bit. I've got some singles, doubles, other thoughts and stuff too. Has anyone actually used Chimecho before? I've used it myself, and I found this set works pretty well. So we got Cosmic Power. Firstly, Chimecho, it's got a okay health stats, so we're going to be trying to boost up its defense and special defense with Cosmic Power. So Cosmic Power and Stored Power work very, very well together, right? So we're going to make it really tanky, and we're going to make Stored Power hit really hard with 20 base power each stat boost. Now, Chimecho does get Recover as well, which is really, really good. So it's going to be able to recover its stats off, and it also gets Draining Kiss too, which allows us to hit any Dark type Pokemon. Not really hard because we're not really investing much in special attack, but it is going to give us some recovery, which is going to be fine. This item we've got here is Leftovers, which works fairly well. And we've got Terra type Psychic. Now, thoughts. I think instead of Psychic, you could conservatively go for Steel. This would be really good because Toxic would shut this down, right? If it got too bulky. If you manage to get enough Cosmic Powers up, it is going to be significantly bulky, and Steel would shut that down. Also, it would change its typing a lot too, so it wouldn't be weak to like Bug and stuff like that, and Dark. So that would be a good Terra type on there. And Levitate works well with Steel, so it won't be weak to any ground type moves, which is going to be really, really handy too. Max health and 124 in defense, 132 in special defense, and bold nature. So just splitting it all round, like an all-round kind of Pokemon here. For this sort of sweeping set. You could drop Recover and maybe give it another coverage move if you wanted to, but I feel like Recover is going to be very, very useful earlier on. Or you could give it Citrus Berry, so it'll get an instant heal earlier on as you're setting up the Cosmic Power. So that's probably how I go about using Chimecho bulky boosting Cosmic Power Stored Power set. Next set you could try out is a trick set with Choice Specs or Choice Scarf, depending on what EVs you're going for. Let's have a look at a Choice Specs one first. It's only got 65 base power, right? So it's 65 speed, so it's very, very slow. So we got Expanding Force. Now for Mega Chimecho, I thought maybe an ability that's really good, because its stats are abysmal, so it's going to need some really good stats and an ability for people to want to use it in a competitive sense. So maybe something like Psychic Surge, Summer Psychic Terrain would be really good. And then, it learns Expanding Force, so it kind of makes sense that could definitely be a good, very, very good on it, right? Say it gets let's say it gets like 150 special attack, and then its speed gets doubled, right? Then it's really fast. So then it could be a fast Psychic Surge Pokemon. Or alternatively, it gets a ton of bulk. So that's 70, let's say that it's gets like 145 health or something like that. its defenses go up by like 30 base points each, so putting it into the hundreds for both. And then its special attack goes to about 130, 40, right? That would make it a bulky, slow, special attacker, which would work well in Trick Room. Chimecho can work well in Trick Room as well. So that's sort of my thoughts what that could be. I'll think of more stuff in a bit. I'm trying to think of stuff like, it's a bell. It's got all those little bells all over it. Soundproof, that sounds like a terrible, boring ability though. I don't think it would do much for it, but something like that. So we've got Expanding Force, Dazzling Gleam, Shadow Ball, and Trick. This gives it good coverage. Max health and max special attack, modest nature. If you want to run it under Trick Room, just go for 0 IVs and quiet nature. That'll give it, it's pretty slow already. It'd be also cool to go back to this video once Chimecho's stats are released and when its ability is actually released, probably next year, I'd say, for Pokemon Champions or whatever. And it'll be cool to see if anyone is correct too, so leave it below in the comments. I've given this one Terra-type Steel because it's a good defensive, obviously Terra-type, being weak to a lot of, Bug, Dark, Ghost, those sort of things there. So Steel's pretty good. Poison, even going back to this stored power one, you could give this Terra Electric, real talk. Then it'd be weak to nothing, right? So I reckon Terra type Electric would be fire on it. That'd be really, really good. Just going back, thinking about levitating Pokemon. With no super effective moves, this Pokemon would be very, very difficult to shut down. Only weakness with the Terra Electric, of course, is that it can be poisoned. So maybe once you got rid of the Dark type Pokemon, you could pop on Heal Bell. And then you're golden, right? You don't need to worry about a crit. Just something to think about, right? So this set here, we got the Choice Spec set. And you also got Trick 2 to cripple any support Pokemon. But if you want to go speedy, like real speedy, as much as a Chimecho can go speedy, go Timid Nature. And then you've got Choice Scarf on there, right? So you can run pretty much exactly the same set. You might want to go for a more offensive Terra type then. So you could go for like Psychic. Fairy's very good on it because I think Fairy's the best defensive type because it resists Bug, Ghost, Dark, all those sort of things. So it's definitely good for it. So that would be a really good one. Plus you could get Dazzling Gleam as well. So you could maybe try that in doubles even as well as singles, depending on what rule set you play, right? All right, sort of double set here. Let's have a look. We got Trick Room. It does get Healing Wish, which is really cool. So you can set up a Trick Room, so either for singles or doubles. If you want to use this in doubles or VGC, go for it. You can set the Trick Room up and then Healing Wish just to, sacrifice it. And then bring another Pokemon back and heal them, and then they can roll under the Trick Room. Dazzling Gleam is great there, and you've got Terra Fairy and Psyshock as a mixed attacker too, and some stab. Colbur Berry is quite good because it halves the damage taken from Dark-type moves. So there's quite a few Dark-type moves, so maybe a knockoff, it can stop that. A Sucker Punch, things like that could be useful before if you wanted to opt to go for a Terra Fairy. Max Health and Max Special Attack, Quiet Nature. Unless you want to make a support, there's not much point putting any EVs into special attack, but I do have a support set that I'm going to have a look at right now. So any other ideas for Chimecho, let me know. So we got a support set now with Chimecho. I love doing these Pokemon that rarely get used because they have interesting things about them. So I think I'm going to cover the rest of the Mega Pokemon that have been officially released as well. So that's coming up. Check out the playlist. I've done tons of these. If you're new, let me know in the comment section too. All right, so we got a Trick Room here. Heal Pulse, which it gets, which is nice. Helping Hand, so that's some great support moves there. And Dazzling Gleam just works because you can hit both Pokemon just for a bit of damage too. And commonly you can go Terra Fairy. I did Terra Poison on this one. You could do Terra Fairy on there for sure. Levitate works well with Poison, obviously. So we've got Max Health, 164 in Defense, 92 in Special Defense, and Sassy Nature with a Rocky Helmet. So Rocky Helmet sort of just punishes any Fake Out users, any physical users, and we've got a bit more in Special Defense because we've got Rocky Helmet on there. Yeah, just another way of running a Chimecho if you like that. Healing Wish is also very good too, so you might be able to, instead of Heal Pulse, you might be able to incorporate Healing Wish onto there as well, which could be interesting to run on there. Another set we got here is a Calm Mind bulky boosting set. This is similar to the first stored power set I already went over, but it's a little bit different in the fact that you're actually giving yourself special attack instead of just raw defenses and using stored powers, base power off that instead. So Calm Mind is the best move for stored power. And then we've got Draining Kiss for any dark type Pokemon and for healing, and Heal Bell. So this essentially is going to heal itself with Draining Kiss, and you're going to set up and sweep there. Keyberry is quite important on there because you can increase your defense by 1 stage. Also stacks with stored power. Whoops. And then you can go for that, right? Max health, max defense, bold nature. Now, we've got a PIMPNITE special here. We have to have one of these, and we're going to do a big discussion now on Mega Chimecho. Once again, if you've got any thoughts, abilities, I'm going to go all through what they could be in this video. Hit this like button, people. Let's get some thoughts about Mega Chimecho. So, physical set, we got Trick Room, Zen Headbutt, Astonish. This is a troll set, right? So we've got some flinching, and we got Cosmic Power as well. And we got Shell Bell, quite appropriate for a Bell Pokemon, healing us at the same time. Every time we do damage, we heal, right? Max health, max attack, brave nature, 0 IVs. Perfect Trick Room Pokemon, super powerful. Not really. So, bit of fun there for Chimecho. Now, Chimecho, any Pokemon I believe that would be a good partner for this would be any fairy types, right? And there's a ton of great fairy type Pokemon. A good one, especially Trick Room fairy Pokemon, that would be really good. So you've got stuff like Hatterene, which would be great. Any slow Pokemon, even a Majana would be good. Comfy's another good one. There's even Mimikyu. So those Pokemon would be pretty good. And, setting up Trick Room and, dealing with some of its weaknesses, which are many Pokemon weaknesses. Any Pokemon that can counter it, we're looking at Scissor would be, Scissor seems to be, a really good counter because it's steel and it's bug, so it resists all of its moves, stored power, even Dazzling Gleam, and then it can just, nuke it with a bug move, right? So, a Pokemon like that would be very, very good counter. I mean, it has a ton of counters, right? Let's be real. So, looking at Mega Chimecho now, let's have a think about this. All the abilities we've got. So, currently we've got Levitate, right? What ability could we possibly have? My first thought, this is a bit of a boring thought though, is Soundproof. How would Soundproof really make this Pokemon great? I don't think it would be that good, but it would more make sense. More make sense for it, right? Being a Bell Pokemon. Because you've got other Pokemon like, a typical Pokemon, a Bell Pokemon is Bronzong. So let's have a look what that's got. Levitate, Heatproof, and Heavy Metal. I don't see it having any of those because it looks like a light Pokemon. It sort of looks a little bit like a Klefki. Let's have a look at Klefki. What does Klefki have? So it might get Pranks. Ooh, think about it. It could get Prankster. You never know. It could be getting a really good ability. That could be cool. We talked about Psychic Surge already. We're gonna have a look at some. We're going to have a look at some psychic-based abilities too. So we got Psychic Terrain. Now, currently, we've only got a few Pokemon that actually have that. And I think Indeedee is the only one in the game with Psychic Surge, actually. I think we've only got Psychic Surge on one Pokemon. Because the other one was Tapu Lele. Tapu Lele, which isn't in the game. So that would be, if it is indeed, pardon the pun there, if it is indeed going to have that, that would be the third Psychic Surge Pokemon. So there's not many of them. That'd be really cool. Now, its typing is Psychic. I don't know if its typing's changed, but I feel like it could be a Steel type as well. So we could look at some Steel abilities. So we've got stuff like Steely Spirit, the Berserker's got, which is interesting. So that could boost up its Steel type moves, but it would have to get Steel moves, right? Because I don't believe that it learns any at all, any Steel type moves at all. We'll just have a look at that. So going down a Steel move, nah, it doesn't get any. So it would need to have that. So maybe that's a bit more of a stretch. It might not get that. I just think it's going to have to get something better than Levitate, right? It really has to. I think it's, or it could get a Trick Room summoning ability too, but I think that's going to be preserved for the likes of Mega Malamar, in my opinion. I've talked about Mega Malamar already. I think once it Mega Evolves, it's going to have Trick Room, but as an ability. So I'm just thinking some other things. We've got other Psychic moves here. I'm doing all this on the spot too. So how about... So Psychic. Let's have a look at some Psychic Pokemon. I might be able to have a look at some ID. Oh, Magic Bounce. So it could be like a real bulky Pokemon and get Magic Bounce. That could be really interesting. Sort of really tanky. Like say its stats. Say we do get that double in health, base health, and then we get like 30, even 50 on defense and special defense and make it really tanky. Magic Bounce user. That would be really interesting. Make it a fully support Pokemon. And, it could be good for that. Like, like a even better version of Hatterene. That'd be interesting. Very, very interesting. Just having a look at some more. So it looks Steel type to me. It looks like a Steel and Psychic type to me. That's what it looks like. And how many of them we got? We got Iron Crown, Necrozma, Solgaleo, Metagross, Jirachi, Bronzong, of course, and the Metang line, and of course Mega Metagross. So there's actually not a lot of Steel and Psychic Pokemon here. So that's kind of interesting what it might actually have. Now, Bronzong seems to be very similar to it, right? They're both Bell Pokemon. So I'm just going to have a look and see if there's any similarities here and what it might get. So it could get something like Meteor Beam. That could be interesting, but then again, you don't have a Power Herb. You've got a Mega Crystal, so that wouldn't be very good. Just having got some Psychic moves here. It might get like powerful moves like Steel Beam. I do believe it's going to still be a special attacker if it does get a big sort of like stat there on offense. So it doesn't really seem to get much there. Let's have a look at some other stuff. So it obviously shares a lot of moves with Bronzong already, which is fair. It gets a lot of moves that Bronzong has. So I'm not really seeing anything that's sort of standing out here. I think it gets so many of these moves just by looking at it. So yeah, this is heat proof and heavy metal. Unless it gets an heavy metal. Unless it gets heavy slam. That'd be weird though, because that would mean it would have to go attack. And then it would have like steel typing and have heavy. You would have to learn heavy slam if it was to get that. It looks a bit too light to me for that sort of thing. It's like a little bell like flying in the breeze. It could be, but then it sort of becomes a bigger one. But still, I don't think it doesn't really look like a heavy Pokemon to me, right? I don't know. You guys give your thoughts on what you think it's going to be. We might get... You know a great move it could learn if it went normal type and it got Boom Burst? That would be cool. Because I'm thinking about all the sound-based moves, yeah? So Boom Burst is a very, very powerful move. Normal type move. Really cool. Sound-based moves. We'll go like... I'll just look up Toxtricity because that learns so many of them. Like right off the bat, right? So... We've got... It already learns Psychic Noise, by the way. So that's interesting. So... Yeah, so Boom Burst is 140 base power, right? That could be really good on it. It could turn normal type. It could be like Psychic and normal. That could work. You watch. It's going to get us typing revealed as I'm doing this video. if it does, just bear in mind I didn't know that information and just let me know in the comment section, yeah? But yeah, Boom Burst, and then it has like... I don't think it's got any electric moves, but I think Boom Burst would be pretty cool on it. With all that base power and stuff, I think that'd be pretty neat. Let's have a look at the other moves that it actually gets and see if I can think of anything. So it does get Baton Pass, depending on what rule set you're playing, you can Baton Pass stats with it. It does get some cool moves like Disable and Encore and Imprison. You could imprison Trick Room if you had that too. Like if you find it was coming up a lot, which it does, you could try and imprison Trick Room. It can be... You could try a Reflect and Light Screen set. Like Light Clay. something like this would be interesting to get set up that, like, full like, just nuke lead. Something like that. And, like, just, you know, you want to, like, split its... Probably, like, just split its defenses and make it really tanky. That could definitely... I could definitely see that working for sure. Set up the... Probably in, like, more... If you're playing, like, specific rules. Because obviously it's not going to stand up to, like, super powerful moves, right? So, you know, just split its defenses. You know, you set room up and then get these up and then Higgling-wish out into a Pokemon. That could work. And then you could have something like Terra, you know, Terra Fairy on there. That could be interesting. As I said, for Chimecho. So there's another good one. I don't think there's any more Bell Pokemon at all. I'm trying to think of any other Bell Pokemon. If there's any other possible ones in the game. I know we've got Bronzor and Bronzong. We've got Weepinbell. That's about it. I was going to say, we got Weepinbell, but I don't think Weepinbell is is going to be any relation to Chimecho at all. So I think Bronzong is our closest candidate there for sure. But if you have any other ideas, let me know. I'd like to think about this. Looking at its design too, I'm trying to think what other types it could possibly be. Because it's just like Mega Chimecho and it's just sitting there. It could be Steel. I'm thinking Steel. It's got to be Steel or Steel and Psychic. Or it's going to be some weird type that we didn't sort of think of. I can't be... Let's bring up the types here. Let's bring up all the types and let's go through each type. I don't think it's going to be a bug. Dark, its design doesn't really look like a dark type. Dragon, no. Electric. I mean, there's a small chance it could be floating, like... I mean, it has Levitate, I guess. I wouldn't count that. It could be Fairy too, because there's quite a lot of Fairy Pokemon, like secondary Fairy type. So it could be like Psychic and Fairy. That's an interesting combination. It does get like Draining Kiss and Dazzling Gleam, so I wouldn't count Fairy out of there. Fighting, no. Fire, no. Flying, oh, yes. No, it's Psychic and Flying, yeah. That could be something. Ghosts, no, it doesn't look ghosty to me. Grass, nah. Ground, no. Ice, no. Normal, possibility. Psychic and normal, like Indeedee. Definitely possible. That would also give it more... that would give it immunity to ghost-type moves too. Poison, no. Psychic, where is that? Rock, Steel, possibility. And then Water. So I would say, my prediction is, if it doesn't change types... if it does change types, we've got Psychic. I'd say Psychic, normal... Fairy, and Flying. That's the 4 types that I reckon it could be. If you've got anything else to add to that, let me know. But that's pretty much it for Chimecho. It's a cool Pokemon. It just got a Mega. Give me some discussion in the comment section. I'd like to hear your thoughts and stuff. Peace out.